to offer big opportunities and connect people. But our intention is as well to make it real and to be sure that after this commitment we have concrete results, and especially to have the first global green trade road, meaning having net zero transport infrastructure, so to be sure that we have the best technologies. We have hydrogen being part of this project, and we channel all the possible common developments. I think as well our intention is to have a fair process. I mean, offering a lot of opportunities to manufacture in the different countries and to cooperate very actively on building these roads, building the innovations going with it, and innovating together. I don't want to be longer. Thank you very much for this. This ceremony is very important. We commit together.
Thank you, Excellency. May I now invite the Chancellor of Germany for his remarks, please.
Thank you, and especially thank you, Narendra and Joe, for convening this event here. I think it is very important to remember that we launched the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment last year, and since then PGII contributes to closing the global investment gap for quality infrastructure. As Emmanuel Macron already said, most about this initiative and all the activities we speak about today is already said, so I will not repeat it, just mentioning two questions. The first is we have to be active that these things can happen, and this is for me that we then have to also work on the infrastructure, the institutions that can work on financing. And for this, I think it is also important to make the work of the World Bank successful. Germany will contribute an additional 305 million euro of hybrid capital to the World Bank, and this is one of the aspects which is a side of the activity here. We also try to work with Africa, and the Compact with Africa will convene in Berlin in November, also as a sign of creating infrastructure, developing economy, all the things we are together here.
Thank you, Excellency. May I now invite the Prime Minister of Japan for his remarks, please.
はい、ありがとうございます。PGII に関するサイドイベント。
The holding of this side event on Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment. On the occasion of the G7 Hiroshima Summit in May this year, as the G7 chair, Japan hosted a PGII meeting inviting private businesses for the first time, which was attended by leaders of G7 and partner countries. Japan is delivering various transport infrastructure development projects, including the construction of Delhi Metro here in the city to support economic development of partner countries. Going forward, we want to take this effort a step further to expand the scope of cooperation to wider areas, including supply chains, to link people together by strengthening connectivity. We also intend to work on building industrial value chains in the whole of Bay of Bengal. The Road Network Connectivity Improvement Plan and other northeastern regional development initiatives in India will be organically linked with the Bay of Bengal Industrial Growth Belt Initiative, or a Big B, that we are working on with Bangladesh. Furthermore, the Japan-ASEAN Comprehensive Connectivity Initiative that Japan announced at the ASEAN-related summit meeting will strengthen connectivity in a variety of areas, including transport infrastructure, digital connectivity, maritime cooperation, supply chains, electricity, as well as human and knowledge connectivity. In this way, Japan will continue to lead the effort for tangible implementation of PGII. To do that, partnership with diverse actors who subscribe to its principles is essential. For the promotion of PGII, I call on everyone gathered here once again to work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency. May I now invite the Prime Minister of Italy for her remarks.
Your Highnesses, Excellencies, when we launched the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment just over a year ago, we committed to building better infrastructure for better future in low and middle income nations. We committed to cooperate with these nations with an equal, non-predatory approach to create new opportunities and prosperity. Today's launch of the new economic corridor between India and the Middle East and Europe goes precisely in this direction and is a milestone in strengthening global interconnections. And that is why I want to thank Prime Minister Modi, President Biden, and all the others, Ursula von der Leyen and all the others who made it possible, for it's a very important thing. This will scale up our economy's growth, opening enormous potential for mutual benefit in the business sector. Obviously, Italy is ready to play a decisive role in this process, also through the unique expertise of Italian companies in the maritime and railway sector. And we want to contribute in building bridges between the Mediterranean and the Indo-Pacific, also in the fields of energy and digital connectivity via Africa and the Arabian Gulf. In the energy sector, we can to work in different fields, including the production and transport of green hydrogen from the Middle East to the Mediterranean. We also support the European Commission on the HELMET project, a high-voltage submarine electricity interconnection that will link Italy to Tunisia. We are working to strengthen digital connections critical for innovation and growth between the wider Mediterranean and Asia. Blue Raman, named after India's Nobel laureate in physics, Raman, will connect Europe with India and involves major companies such as Google and Team Sparkle. However, we also are aware that there's still too much to be done to narrow the infrastructure gap with low and middle income nations. And this is why we will continue work on the Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment during the Italian G7 presidency next year. Thank you. Thank you to everybody.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you, Your Highnesses and Your Excellencies, for launching the landmark India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. I would request all media and officials to remain seated and standing in their places while the leaders depart.
Excuse me for interrupting, but as we say in my body used to work, a point of personal privilege. I did not mention the Sheikh Mohammed of the UAE, but because I knew he wasn't speaking. But I do want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't think we'd be here without you. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Highnesses and Excellencies. I would request all media to remain seated and standing in their position while the leaders leave the room. Thank you.
तो G20 शिखर सम्मेलन के दौरान ये जो बड़ी पहल हुई है, इस वक्त की बड़ी खबर हम आपके लिए ट्रैक कर रहे हैं, उसको आपसे साझा करते हैं। कैसे वैश्विक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और निवेश के लिए जो साझेदारी की पहल हुई है, लॉन्च हुआ है भारत
Sanatana Dharma Eradication Conference. This is worse than the anti-Hindutva conference that was being organized. At least that was in the US. This is in India. What is going on in this country? Every time the DMK finds itself in a political soup, the first option of resort is to attack Hinduism, is to attack Sanatana Dharma. The Dravidian movement has always been a separatist movement. The founders of the Justice Party even go to the United Kingdom with representations to the effect freedom movement should not succeed, because should it succeed, it will translate to a restoration of Brahminical rule. And these were the people who even observed the Independence Day as Black Day. Mr. E.V. Ramaswamy.
Periyar.
I won't call him Periyar. That's an epithet which is respectful. I don't wish to use that. The dirtiest part of Dravidinist politics was competition for the Brahmin woman. She was offered as the prize. the exodus of the Brahmin community from Madras Presidency and subsequently in Tamil Nadu is an unsung story with nobody having captured it properly. We may want to even ask this question, why is it that Indian history has given two different treatments, one to the Ambedkarite movement and one to the Dravidinist movement? Why do you want to have two different yardsticks or standards to be applied to two sets of movements, both of which are based on anti-Brahmanism? There was this Dravidinist poet Bharatidasan who basically came out with this saying that if you see a snake and you see a Brahmin, kill the Brahmin first. The end game of Dravidianism was always destruction of Hinduism. The reason why the missionaries want the destruction of caste is not because they want an egalitarian society. It takes away that one final barrier that prevents conversion.
Namaste, Jai Hind. Welcome to another edition of ANI Podcast with Smita Prakash. Thank you for writing in with your suggestions. We realize that there are times when we get guests who do not meet with your approval. But our attempt always is to bring about a discussion on ideas and opinions that many Indians in India and some Indians who are expat Indians are confronted with almost on a daily basis. Today, our issue is on Sanatana Dharma and Dravidianism. And all this because of a comment made by a son of a chief minister of the state of Tamil Nadu, who's also a minister in his cabinet. Now, if you don't live in South India, or say you're not a Tamil, or you're not a Hindu, or you're a secular Hindu, does it matter when someone who occupies a high post says that Sanatana Dharma needs to be eradicated from India? Does a comment like that constitute hate speech or not? What is Sanatan Dharma? What is Dravidianism? And what was Udayanidhi Stalin saying? My guest today will give a historical context to Sanatana Dharma and Dravidianism and that comment. Sai, thank you so much for being part of the podcast. We do want you to demystify for our viewers and listeners what is Sanatana Dharma, what is Dravidianism, and why are these two in conflict with each other? Is it something new? Has it been there for a long time? And of course, nobody better than you. You're no stranger to the ANI podcast. For our viewers and listeners, J. Sai Deepak is no stranger. He's appeared on episode 32 7 months ago. That episode has near about 4 million views on YouTube and a massive following on audio platforms too. Sai Deepak is an engineer turned litigator turned author. His two books, India That Is Bharat, Coloniality, Civilization, Constitution and India, Bharat and Pakistan, The Constitutional Journey of a Sandwich Civilization, are two voluminous, well-researched books on the Indian civilization. Sai is a much sought-after public speaker and has a massive fan following. Sai, let's begin right away with Udayanidhi's comment before we talk about the whole concept of, the larger picture about Sanatan Dharma and all. Let's just begin first with Udayanidhi's comment. I'm going to read out the comment so that viewers and listeners who don't live in India or who don't watch TV and, who are not into social media much, don't know what the controversy is. Let's just begin with that. Now, he said there are some things which we have to eradicate and we can't merely oppose. Mosquitoes, dengue fever, malaria, corona, all these are things which we cannot oppose. We have to eradicate them. Sanatanam is also this. Eradicating, not opposing Sanatanam should be our first task. Now, he said this. Why do you think he suddenly spoke about this? I mean, there are people who live in Tamil Nadu say that it's something that his father Stalin and his grandfather Karunanidhi have said behind closed doors or in whispers. Yeah. But now it's come out in the open and it's not as if it was an off-the-cuff remark. Yeah. He clearly knew what he was saying and he's said it well thought out thing at a conference.
What conference? Sanatana Dharma Eradication Conference. What else do you expect him to speak on? He said what he said because that was the theme of the conference. People have latched on to his statement, but the fact that there is a platform that is being put together, how different is it? This is worse than the anti-Hindutva conference that was being organized or that was organized in the US a few months ago. At least that was in the US. This is in India, Bharat rather. And you have people who have managed to put together such an event. The HRC minister, Shekhar Babu of Tamil Nadu, was wearing saffron and he was on the stage when the statement was being made. He participated in the conference. And
what does wearing saffron have to do with it?
No, the man usually sports that dress to basically indicate that he is a practicing Hindu, at least for the sake of optics. But everything that the Tamil Nadu HRC department has done, which is the Hindu Religious and Charitable Endowments department has done ever since the DMK has taken over, or even before, no government has been different in this regard, has been everything but Hindu. It's completely anti-Hindu. But for someone who presides over a department that is dedicated to Hindu religious and charitable endowments, to preside and participate in a conference that is dedicated to Sanatana Dharma eradication, what is going on in this country? Really, what is going on in this country? Replace Sanatana Dharma with any other caste, subsect, sect, sampradaya, or any other religion. What would we have on our hands? Civil and order, law and order issues. Literally, these people have gotten away with something that they should have never been allowed to.
You mean if there had been a conference on Islam and there would have been a talk about Shia or Sunni, that is the sects of Islam, and eradication of a sect would have resulted in a hate crime or a hate speech
and
thing.
Here an entire religion is sought to be eradicated, and it's been compared with what? Diseases, malaria, dengue, mosquitoes. What is being said here?
But they're saying that it's not eradication of a religion, but eradication of Sanatana Dharma.
So what is Sanatana Dharma according to him?
Tell
So
me.
according to him, Sanatana Dharma is a subsect of Hinduism. Sanatana Dharma is the heart of Hinduism. To actually make this silly distinction. So you have to realize something is here, and you ask me, why has he said this? What is the timing? There are quite a few issues at play here. One, 2024. Obviously, I.N.D.I.A. Right? That's the other issue. So clearly the opposition or the coalition that they've put together has this as